guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the locker room. Landon, myself, one and only, is back today without Cody. Cody is still on vacation, so Cody might be back next week. I'm not too sure on that, but just me this week as we are heading into week 11 of the NFL season, and oh boy, has it been a rough one. Just gonna let all you know, when we get to the Raiders, it's gonna get heated. So if you don't want to hear yelling, turn off the video now. That's all I'm going to say, because boy, do we have some things to talk about. But before we get into that, we are going to get into our kind of premise of the show this week, and it's not really a big episode. It's going to be a smaller episode this week, as we're just going to go and take a deeper dive into some of the storylines and NFL news that we got this week. So that is basically what we're going to do this episode. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. As first, we'll start off with rather very concerning news for both the team and fantasy-wise, as Cooper Kupp suffered an ankle injury in Sunday's game. I think they said it was a high ankle sprain or something like that. But whatever it was, it's going to land him on the IR. As of today, that came out. It is a Tuesday night as I am recording. So Cooper Kupp lands on IR. That is very scary for fantasy owners. It's very scary for the Rams, as the Rams have been one of the more disappointing teams this year. You lose to the Cardinals to a backup quarterback, but sure, you had your backup quarterback, but still, you lose to a backup quarterback. And I believe you're 4-6 on the year. You're not doing too great as a unit with the Rams. Aaron Donald is not himself. That defense is not themselves. And Stafford is just turning the ball over like crazy. I mean, Cooper Kupp was one of that. He was the most reliable thing on that offense for Matthew Stafford to work with. And now he's gone. This is only going to hurt them, obviously. And who knows? They're likely out of the playoffs already. I mean, it's not looking good for them at all. So unless Sean McVay has some tricks up his sleeve, this Cooper Kupp injury is going to hurt them a bunch, as it will give Van Jefferson some more targets. So if you have him in fantasy in your waiver wire, I would go pick Van Jefferson up, and Allen Robinson, the target should open up for him. So we'll see. But overall, for a team perspective on the Rams, it does not look good. On a fantasy perspective, if you have him, that sucks. I mean, he's likely done for the year for you at producing at a high level. But then, as I just said, Allen Robinson and Jesus, I am blanking right now, guys. Van Jefferson and Allen Robinson. Those two will be major waiver wire. Or Van Jefferson, if he's on the waiver wire, he'll be a major pickup for people. But Allen Robinson owners, you should be happy for this news. Not that he got hurt, but Allen Robinson should have the ball come towards him a lot more now. And does that bring the possibility of them bringing OBJ back? I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, I definitely think it's a possibility if OBJ comes back. So we'll have to wait and see. But overall, not looking good for the Rams so far. And then what do we want to go into now? We'll go into the Lions. My question is for all of you. Comment down below. Do you think the Lions are a legit team? Are they a decent team in the NFL? Because they started terrible, but these last couple of weeks, past 3 weeks, they've looked decent. First half against the Dolphins, they looked great. Couldn't get it done in the second half. And week 2 with the defense, or the next week, they shut the Packers down. I mean, sure, the Packers haven't looked great, but they just won against a very good Cowboys team. So you shut their offense down. So you shut Aaron Rodgers down, which is really hard to do, and you were able to pull out the victory there. And now you go into Chicago, you get a turnover to take the lead, and what you do is you go and have a game-winning drive. They finished the football game. That's something that they have not been able to do all year. They were able to finish a football game. So Lions fans, you should be pretty happy with the way this team's been performing the past couple of weeks. I mean, it would be a treat to see them win out or get one loss these next stretch of games, because it's very unlikely. But to see the Lions in the playoffs, I mean, that would be awesome. But Dan Campbell does look like he is motivating this team. He is getting the full potential out of all his players, which is something like other coaches can't do. Josh McDaniels. What the fuck was that? So moving on, back to the Lions. Dan Campbell has been great. Aaron Glenn not looking too great. I mean, he is definitely on the hot seat as far as coordinators go. And Dan Campbell trying to get himself off the hot seat as far as coaches go. But for the roster that they have, I think that they're performing decent these past couple of weeks. And if they continue to keep it up, I think that they can definitely be a 7 to 9 win team in the NFL if they play like this. So, good job, Lions. Now we're going to move on to the game of the week, year, month, century. I mean, what a game. Vikings versus Bills. I mean, it starts off, it's already a close game. Bills choking it away. They were up by 10, I believe. They were choking it away. And then it was 4th and 18. And oh my, Justin Jefferson. I think in this game, he established himself as the best receiver in the league. I mean, he's right up there with Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase. But I do think that Jefferson just established him as the best receiver in the league, as he made possibly the best catch that we have seen in the NFL since Odell. The thing about this catch that I like better than Odell's is he had to fight for it. I mean, he had to fight for it with another defender with one hand. It got ripped out of his hand. He got it back, and he had full control of that ball. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was no Des Bryant. Did he catch it or not? No. He fully came down with that ball, and that is very impressive to see. But not only that, he freaking establishes this offense. He spreads the offense out. He gets the tight ends open because he's having to get double teamed. He is playing at a phenomenal level. He is getting open. He's doing so many things. And if you're a fantasy owner of him, wow. I mean, you got a heck of a player. And if you're not a fantasy owner of him, go trade for him right now because Justin Jefferson can be a league winner as he is amazing. I mean, my number one receiver in football right now, without a doubt. But moving on from Justin Jefferson, he makes that amazing catch. They go down and score, I believe. They go down and score, and they were at the goal line for a while, and they eventually, I believe they turned it over, if I'm not mistaken. So they turned it over, and then the Bills, it was at the 1 yard line. All you had to do is dive forward. They dive forward, but the ball comes loose, and the Vikings recover. Wow. Just that in itself is amazing. So they got a huge defensive stop, something that the Vikings have not been able to do all game, except in the second half. They continue with that defensive dominance. Trust me, that will be shown later in this game. As then they go into overtime. Then the Bills go back down the field as Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen just connect, and the Bills get a field goal, somehow tie the game. Josh Allen is magic. Then we go into overtime. The Vikings get the ball, and man, they go down, they get a field goal, thinking that the game is over because Josh Allen gets a shot. They go all the way down the field, and Josh Allen throws the game away with a terrible interception. It looked like he just tried to force it. It was not there, and man, Josh Allen forced it, and it was a killer to see, but what a game. And the main storyline that I like to look at with this game, as we talked about, was Justin Jefferson, but also, does this prove the Vikings are a legitimate team in the NFL? They are now 8-1. They just beat one of the best teams, one of the more, compact working teams in the NFL. I mean, it is incredible what the Vikings did. They never gave up. They fought through it. And wow, they just beat one of the best teams in football. And now I think that Kirk Cousins, and not only Kirk Cousins himself, but the Vikings need to have some respect on their name after that game. So, wow. Now we're going to move on to, we'll go a little ahead. We'll go to Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday, wow. I don't know what's worse, Josh McDaniels or Jeff Saturday is just him. Because I'm at a loss of words. We'll get into that. But, man, the question I have is Jeff Saturday, can he be that legitimate long-term answer? Right now, I'm leaning towards no, but that can change. I'd like to see what he can do. He reminds me a lot of a Dan Campbell. I know he can motivate his players, but is he a good football coach and a clock manager? That's going to be the big part of what Jeff Saturday can do. Starts off 1-0 as his career. He's going to get a lot of hype, but I am not going to jump on that hype yet. I think it's way too early to tell. We need to see what he does with the rest of these games. If he goes 6-2, I think he's potentially in the landing spot for that Colts job. So we'll see there with Jeff Saturday, because that would be a very, very interesting and an incredible story. Just not even coaching football, former player, 12-year Pro Bowler. If not even coaching football and he goes in, first job, head coach, goes 6-2, gets hired, that would be an incredible story. So let me know, do you guys think Jeff Saturday has a shot at being hired or not? Now, if you think he'll be hired, because everyone's going to say no, do you think he has a shot to prove that? let me know down in the comments. Now, moving on to let's go into the future because I want to talk about my Raiders last. We're going to move ahead to the draft. We're going to look at who that number one pick could be. And I really think that as of right now in this position, there's only 3 options. So our top 5 draft picks right now are Houston, the Las Vegas Raiders, Carolina Panthers, Philadelphia Eagles, Jags, and then at 6 is the Bears. When you look at those teams, the top 3 will be searching for quarterbacks. The Eagles will not be searching for a quarterback. The Jags will not be, and the Bears will not be. So if any of those 3 stay in the top 3 or even get the one spot between the Houston Raiders and Panthers, even though I don't want the Raiders to take a fucking quarterback, I think a quarterback goes, and I think it's going to be Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud because as much as I'm not a big fan of those guys, as I think that they are not as good as another quarterback in the draft. My number one quarterback in the draft right now is Hendon Hooker. So Hendon Hooker's at the top of my list, but CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are going to be the 2 main guys in this draft if it continues the way that things are going. So I think that there's going to be 2 options at quarterback for the number 1 pick. That is going to be CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, and that is either going to be how you fit the system, or if you fit the system, or who's just more athletic, who they like more, who's their guy. I think it can go between those 2. And then if it's not a quarterback, I think that there's no other option really to go at 1. I think that this guy is the potential non-bust of these past 5 drafts. He is incredible. And that's going to be Will Anderson, the edge rusher. I mean, he is a freak of nature. He's athletic. He's big. He has a high football IQ. He is the one guy that he will not bust at all in this draft. I think he will be the top prospect out of this draft class, no doubt. So those are my top 3 players who I think that can go number 1 at this current position in the season. And oh boy. Now we're on to a really heated topic. Las Vegas Raiders. And there's going to be a lot of swearing. I'll do my best to bleep it out. So, Josh McDaniels and the Las Vegas Raiders go into their home stadium and they lose to a coach whose last game he coached was in high school where he lost. Oh my God. Well, they lose that game. Terrible play calling all around. I mean, okay. I'll talk about Derek Carr first. Derek Carr missed a lot of throws in that game. He missed a lot of open receivers. I'm not going to lie to you. DC could have played better, but he played well enough to where we could have won. I don't like that final play call at the end of the game. Throwing a fade to Adams, don't like it. Run a crossing route. 4 verts is not always going to work. You want to give your receiver a shot, but give him a better shot than just throwing him a jump ball. Make a better play call. Fucking McDaniels. God. So, Carr could have played better. But then what really broke my heart is Derek Carr. He loves this team so much. He goes up on that presser and he is holding back tears. He cares about this team. And he's basically said in that press conference, there are some guys, not necessarily pointing at the coaching staff, but players. There's guys who are not practicing as hard as they can. They're not playing as hard as they can. And that pisses him off. And I don't blame him. This guy has put his heart and soul into this team. And he deserves to get that out of his other players. I mean, not only is that's not on him. That's on a dude we're going to talk to real soon. So that needs to be fixed. You need to get the most out of your players. I mean, there's no option to it. And Carr also said how the things that they go through at practice just to play and just to get their body ready for games and just to sleep. I think that's a shot at McDaniels. This is just my personal opinion, but I think it's showing how hard the practices are on them. I mean, it was a similar conversation when Gruden was there, but when Rich Bisaccia came in, everyone wanted to play for him. Everyone wanted to be at practice, and as a result, we were winning games because of that. So, I mean, something has got to go, and I know what I want it to be. There's 2 things that I want to go, and we're going to get into that real soon. Let's get into it right now. First off, let's get into what Mark Davis said about McDaniels. He said he's played fantastic. I'm putting air quotes on that because that's just straight shit. How has he been fantastic, Mark Davis? I mean, what fantastic? This guy took a playoff team who got better, added more pieces, added Rock Ya-Sin, added Devontae Adams, added Dylan Parham in the draft. I mean, how did he do better? He made a playoff team. We're already at the same amount of losses that we had last season at the end of the year, and it's week 11. We made the playoffs last year, and Josh McDaniels made us worse. How is he playing fantastic? How do you trust this guy? Okay, and now on to Josh McDaniels, because saying he's coached fantastic, that is like fucking horrendous. I cannot. Oh my God. Now, Josh McDaniels. I hate this motherfucker who sits down when he pees. I hate Josh McDaniels. I want him fired today. I want him fired whenever we can. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen because Mark Davis is a lunatic. He is terrible. Josh McDaniels is not a coach. He is a selfish little. He is a selfish little who only plays his players, who only plays his guys, and he doesn't play the best guys, and he doesn't put his team in the correct position to win. I hate McDaniels. He needs to be fired right now. Mark Davis, you are, I'm going to quote Mitchell Rentz here, you are pissing over your father's grave right now by keeping McDaniels. McDaniels should have been gone in week freaking 6. He should have been gone the week before. He should have been gone this week. McDaniels sucks. Get him out of this place. I hate him. He should not be allowed to come to Raiders games. He should not be allowed to come in the Raiders presence. He shouldn't be allowed in Nevada. Josh McDaniels is the worst coach in the NFL. No doubt about it. He is terrible. I hate him. Please fire him. Mark Davis, I don't know how he is not fired yet. I don't know how. As Mitchell Rentz said, he's pissing over his father's grave. I mean, does he love his dad? I don't even know because the way he's showing it, he doesn't right now. So, I mean, I'm at a loss of words with this team. We should be a lot better. I mean, it seems to happen every year. Seems to happen every year where something goes wrong. And this year, I blame you, Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels. You guys stink. Sell the damn team, please. Well, after that rant, we're now going to move on to our week 11 picks. So, last week, Cody went 7-7. I just got to apologize for that rant because, man, previous week, Cody went 7-7. I went 8-6. Both kind of an even numbers this week. I did have one more win than him, but overall pretty even week. That includes my win total is 61-44 on the year, and Cody's to 49-55 on the year. So I'm ahead of Cody by about, I'm not good at math, 12 games, I believe. So, yeah, so pretty decent week for both of us. So now we're going to move on to our week 11 picks right now. Tennessee versus Green Bay. Green Bay coming up a very big comeback win against Dallas. Atlanta coming off a loss. Or Tennessee. I don't know why I said Atlanta. Tennessee coming off a win, but not a very good one. Give me Green Bay. Now we have the Eagles versus the Colts. Eagles did not look good offensively. A lot of turnovers. I think that changes here. Jeff Saturday gets handed his first loss, and the Eagles move to 9-1. Now, moving on to the L.A. Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. Rams not look good, but I do think that this is a must win, and I do think that they will pull out the win. I trust Matthew Stafford over Andy Dalton. So now kind of an ugly game. We have the one, the only, the Justin Field-led Chicago Bears versus the Atlanta Falcons this time. As I'm going to take Chicago. I think that Chicago has more of a dynamic running game with the quarterback than Atlanta does, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think that Justin Fields will outperform Marcus Mariota. Now, Houston versus Washington. Washington with a huge win over the Eagles, ending their undefeated season as like they did the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of years ago as the Washington football team. Houston coming off a loss. I mean, Houston doesn't have the momentum. Washington has the momentum. Washington's a better team. Houston's the worst team. I'm going to go Washington here. The New York Jets, who have looked pretty decent, they're coming off a bye, fully rested against the Patriots, who are also coming off a bye. Division rivals. Patriots won last time. Jets want revenge in New England. Give me the Jets. New York Giants versus the Detroit Lions. Lions coming off a 2-game win streak. The Giants just beat the Texans, who didn't look that great. I'm not going to lie. They looked a little ruddish. If the Lions can hold the Saquon Barkley to under 100 yards, I mean, I think that the Lions can win, and I think that they will win. So give me the Lions. Now going to the Panthers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore off a bye last week. Panthers just beat the Falcons on Thursday Night Football. I mean, I don't think this is a no-brainer. Give me Baltimore. Buffalo versus Cleveland, as Buffalo just comes off that horrifying loss to the Jets and the Minnesota Vikings in the game of the year. Cleveland just comes off a loss to Miami. So I think Buffalo regains the strength. Give me Buffalo. Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh, flex out of the Sunday night game. Joe Burrow is going to dominate the Steelers this game. TJ Watt's back, but that's not going to matter. Give me Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. Now over to Dallas versus Minnesota. Minnesota, very hot, looking very good. I think this is going to be the game of the week. This is my pick for game of the week. So give me Minnesota Vikings after they have shown that they are here and they are here to stay. Now on the Sunday night game, Kansas City versus Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers coming off the loss to the 49ers, who we'll talk about on the Monday night game. Then KC coming off the win versus the Jags. They lose Juju Smith-Schuster, but they get the dynamic player in Kadarius Toney. Give me the Chiefs. Now 49ers versus Arizona. Who knows if Kyler's going to play, but either way, if Kyler doesn't play, I think the 49ers will still shut them down. Either way, give me the 49ers. And that will wrap up our Week 11 picks. And only our Week 11 picks, I'll wrap up our episode. A little bit of a shorter episode this week as it was last week. I mean, it's kind of hard out with Cody here, but, Cody's on vacation, so hopefully he'll be back next week, as I said. So really just want to thank all of you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment all the questions that I asked you. So that being said, we will see you guys next time.